Layla Waters was an ordinary human girl living in a world where vampires and werewolves ruled with iron fists. She had no interest in the supernatural kings who governed her realm. All she wanted was to finish her studies, hang out with her best friends Charlotte and Will, and escape the shadows of her broken family. But fate had other plans. When the vampire king Adrian came to her small town searching for his fated mate, Layla never expected to be caught up in his hunt. She was attacked in a dark alley by a rogue vampire, and just as his teeth grazed her neck, Adrian appeared like a storm, throwing the attacker aside with brutal force. As he lifted her trembling body into his arms, something electric sparked between them, a tingling sensation that neither could explain. He carried her to his limousine, cradling her like she was made of glass, and revealed the truth that would change her life forever. She was his mate, his destined soulmate, and he had been searching for her across dozens of towns for years. Overwhelmed by the revelation, but drawn to him with an inexplicable pull, Layla agreed to move into his castle. Her friends were shocked but supportive, especially when they discovered that Layla's long-lost brother Liam was living at the castle as Adrian's royal advisor. Their reunion was raw and emotional, but Layla struggled to forgive him for vanishing 2 years ago without a word. Through Adrian's gentle guidance, she came to understand that Liam had left to protect her and their parents from supernatural threats that would have torn them apart. Slowly, she let go of her anger, and the family began to heal. Life at the castle was intoxicating. Adrian was possessive and passionate, his devotion to Layla absolute. He gave her private tours of his sprawling fortress, introduced her to his inner circle, and prepared elaborate dates that took her breath away, including a magical evening by a hidden waterfall, surrounded by candles and fairy lights. Every touch sent shivers of electricity through her body, and every kiss made her forget the danger that lurked outside. But danger was always close. A ruthless rebel leader named James, who had once been like a brother to Layla's friend Will, began targeting her. James believed that by breaking Layla, he could destroy Adrian and seize the throne. He sent threatening notes, orchestrated violent attacks, and even had her kidnapped at gunpoint from a shopping mall. Adrian arrived just in time to save her, but James was relentless, growing bolder with each failed attempt. The breaking point came when James orchestrated a massive assault on Adrian's castle. During the chaos, Layla was captured and dragged to a remote cabin in the woods, bound to a chair, and tortured for days. He stabbed her in the thigh, then the stomach, demanding answers about Adrian's inner circle. But Layla refused to break. Her silence infuriated him, and the torture grew more violent. But she held on to the hope that Adrian would find her. He did, but not in the way she expected. The cabin door burst open, and James was attacked by a massive wolf. Layla was rescued by a man named Aaron, who turned out to be Adrian's twin brother and the werewolf king. As Aaron carried her to safety, Layla felt the same tingling sensation she had felt with Adrian. The truth was devastating. Layla was the mate of both brothers. In the supernatural world, a woman with 2 mates was unheard of. And now she was forced to choose between 2 powerful kings who both loved her fiercely and would do anything to protect her. While recovering in Aaron's castle, Layla began to see the gentle side beneath his tough exterior. She met his warriors, sat through tense meals, and felt the same electric pull toward him. But the reprieve was short-lived. Adrian arrived with Charlotte and Will, and a box containing a severed finger wearing Layla's mother's wedding ring. The message was chillingly clear: James had her mother, and he would stop at nothing to break Layla completely. The revelation shattered her. She had already endured so much: kidnapping, torture, the weight of two impossible loves, the loss of her family. But now her mother was in danger, and James had made it personal. Layla realized she could no longer be a victim. She had to become a fighter. As she stared at the ring, tears streaming down her face, she made a decision. She would not run. She would not hide. She would stand alongside Adrian and Aaron, unite their kingdoms, and destroy James before he could destroy everything she loved. She told both kings that she didn't care about ancient bonds or prophecies. She cared about them, and that was enough. The war was just beginning, and Layla was no longer the frightened girl who had been attacked in an alley. She was a mate, a sister, a daughter, and she was ready to fight for the people she loved. But James was not done with her yet. He had her mother, he had her fear, and he knew that breaking Layla would shatter both kings. What she didn't know was that her mother was not just a hostage, she was the key to a secret that could unravel the supernatural world forever. The brothers' rivalry over Layla grew more intense, their protectiveness clashing in heated arguments that threatened to tear them apart. Layla was trapped in the middle, torn between two men who would die for her, and both of whom she was beginning to love in different ways. The kingdom was on the brink of civil war, and James was using every moment to tighten his grip. But Layla had a plan. She would use her bond with both kings to unite their armies and lead a counterattack. She would face James herself if she had to. She had already survived his torture, and she was done being afraid. In the shadows, James smiled. The brother's obsession with Layla was exactly what he had counted on. He knew that if he could break her or kill her, he could watch both kingdoms burn from the ashes of their grief. He sent one last message: "I will see you soon, my love. And this time you won't escape." With her mother's ring still burning in her memory, Layla stood tall beside both of her mates and swore an oath: "James will die. My mother will be saved. And I will never be a victim again." The final confrontation was coming, and Layla knew one thing for certain: she would not lose anyone else she loved. Whether she would have to sacrifice her own heart to save them all, she was ready to face whatever came next. But as the sun set over the twin castles, casting long shadows across the battlefield that lay ahead, a single question lingered in the air: would love be enough to stop a man who had already lost everything, and had nothing left to lose? And what would happen to Layla when the brothers' rivalry finally forced her to choose? The war was far from over, and the first shot had not yet been fired.